So before we move to the 2021 budget, I'd like to talk about the CARES Act a little bit, because that does go overlap this year's budget, next year's budget, and possibly the September's. On your table is a CARES Act package. And the CARES Act, this is what you have, and Ms. Jones was given all of this. It is the CARES Act.
Yes, I've already reviewed it.
Right, okay. So you can see on the front page that there are some bullets, and the CARES Act can be used to support remote learning through all of those things for technology. It can support the needs of all students during school closure and when students return to school, which may include mental health services and supports, the meals distribution, and for services that students with IEPs may need when they return from school, planning for and implementing extended learning and summer learning, and maintaining operations and continuity of services, including continuing to employ existing staff to the greatest extent practical. So the money is very broad-based. It has to. The application was put online this week. We've done all the prerequisite things to get ready to submit that application. So if you look on the third page back, it's double-sided. It does list what each school division across the state is getting at the moment, and I don't know what our page is. But if you look 2 more pages back, there
application is $209.
It's 200. Covington City Schools is $209,881.54.
And where is that located?
It's behind the superintendent. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I don't know what happened to our copies. Oh, it just got out of line. Sorry.
That's okay. Yes,
Yeah.
We're number 107.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's a document from the U.S. Department of Ed about equitable services to teachers and students. There is some provisions in the CARES Act to provide some support to private schools. And this outlines what that entails. And then if you'll keep going back, that's an 8-page document. The last 2 pages of the document are the use of the CARES Funds Act application and categories. So this does list all of the things that can be used for this money to take care of things we've already spent this school year for cleaning and sanitizing the buildings, for addressing the feeding program, if we need to address the feeding program anymore, also coordinating meals, online technology, long-term closure. If we decide to go to a one-on-one initiative and we need to purchase a learning platform, this money could help take care of that funding. It also can be used for mental health services and supports. And on the last page, it does also talk about summer learning and supplemental after-school programs should we need that next year. And the last thing is the big ticket item. Anything that we need to maintain the operation of and continuity of services and continuing to employ existing staff. So that's very broad-based in that we could use it for other things than what's exactly listed there, because we do have to keep our school system operating, whether we start back to school August 8th or we start back to school September 8th. All of these funds can be used to help us make decisions. And what we will do is we'll get together with the administrative team, we'll get together with Rebecca, we'll talk about where are the needs, what do we need to put the funding in the different categories that are allowed, and how we request the $200,000. And again, as I mentioned last week, it's not they give us the $200,000. We have to put it in categories, spend the money, and then request through the Department of Education system for reimbursement. So it is important. We do need that money, and it will be something that we'll bring to you all once we make the application decisions about how to spend those dollars. So that's just a brief outline of the CARES program. You hear about it all the time. You can see, depends on the size of your school division, about how much money you got, and it was based on a Title I funding formula. So this is about the same amount of money that we get each year to support our Title I programs. It's about $200 and some odd $1,000. Rebecca, anything about the CARES Act that you'd like?
I would just caution against using it for ongoing expenses. I would use it for one-time expenses. I wouldn't use it to
For reoccurring things.
supplant other funds to get us through next year. I just think that's unwise.
Okay.
So
So
like a last resort?
Pardon?
Like a last resort?
No, not as a last resort. I would use it on one-time expenses. If we need to buy Chromebooks, if we need to buy technology for students, something that's going to end. I wouldn't use it to hire a staff that then's going to be ongoing for the next year, and then you don't have this money anymore.
like a reoccurring
I wouldn't use it for
expense.
recurring expenses.
Yeah, definitely. What is the time frame, the application time frame? I saw where we put it in August the 1st.
Well, no,
You have you really have 18 months. You
Okay.
can start, it starts March 13th and goes through September of 2022.
Okay.
So it could be this fiscal year, next fiscal year, and 3 months of the following fiscal year.
Okay.
but
Okay.
I've actually emailed Lynn Sodat at the Department of Education, who's going to oversee this, and ask her, because it does say August 1, but the application went online. As soon as we get it submitted and approved by them, which we hope to get done by the end of next week or the first following week, then we can start requesting those funds.
Okay.
For now and next school year and during the summer. It has to be done on August 1, but it can be submitted earlier, which is our plan. So it is much appreciated and much needed, and we'll just have to be very thoughtful about how we spend it and how we move forward. I do think we need to move to more one-to-one initiative for our grade 3 through 12 students.
We do.
And I think we also need a learning platform for our students. The high school has Edgenuity, which has been wonderful, and it's very, very user-friendly, and it has actual teachers teaching. But I think we need something for 3 through 8, 3 through 7 as well. They're even talking now that if, let's just suppose we start school and then we have to close it in. We're going to have to continue that learning, and we were lucky that we were able to do the packets and those things. But we need to be thinking about other ways to support our students through learning.
Have we explored previously what the expenses associated with one-to-one and any of the technological options we
Yes, I
have?
think Dr. Furman in one of our staff meetings said she thought we needed, if we purchased all new, I'm thinking she said $300,000. But we have existing Chromebooks, but we would need to supplement some more because we don't have one-to-one grades 3 through 7. We have like a 25 cart, Chromebook cart. So we would have to do quite a bit of funding. We've also looked at some learning platforms. There's something called Schoology and there's something called Canvas, and Dr. Furman is trying to find out the funding, the cost for that type of program. Mr. Cantrell would really like to keep Edgenuity, and it does go down to 6th grade. It costs about $10,000 per year to support that platform. Schoology and Canvas is not free either, so we'd have to research those costs. And we've been watching what some of the larger school divisions have been saying that they're using for one-on-one initiative and a learning platform. The state's talked about possibly giving something free to everybody in the state. So we're hoping that they will come through with some dollars for that. So we have a lot of research and a lot of work to do to make the right decision for our school division. But I do think we're going to have to spend the majority on the money on that kind of process. But any other questions about the CARES Act? Not the moment. Okay. If you think of something, if you think of something, please ask us. So 2021 budget. So what Rebecca has put on your table is the line item budget that we have. This is the latest one we submitted to the city. And she's highlighted some areas where we could go and look at each item, which we've done in the past as we develop budgets. I have met with every principal yesterday and today. I met with the CHF athletic department today. We still have some recommendations that we'd like to make before we make a final decision, but we wanted to know if this was the approach you wanted to take, is looking at these areas where there could be some cuts made as we look at finding dollars. You want to talk about the minimum wage and those kind of broad things?
Sure, we could just go through this if you want. You know, as you know, the city has requested that we cut $333,000 from their local allocation. That was Mrs. O'Nitis's recommendation to City Council, which they are considering, I guess, in upcoming meetings. So, and as Melinda said, she's still having conversation with staff about this, but this is just a copy of our line item budget. This doesn't go really to anybody but us, but the sort of summary goes to the city. But these are just some line items that I know we're going to have savings. For example, workman's comp, we got those figures yesterday. We got our new rates for next year. And our workman's comp, I budgeted $58,000, it's going to be $51,000. Overall, our insurance went down about some of our insurances went up, some of them went down. The workman's comp went down, some of the student accident crime, all those are pretty minimal. But overall, I'm projecting a decrease in insurance of $6,700.
In that second block, student insurance and all
No,
that?
workman's comp, I don't have the breakdown
Okay.
for how much everyone
Okay.
is. I know workman's comp came in at about 51 something.
Okay.
I don't have the breakdown of each individual one.
Okay,
The
but
total savings
insurance.
is about $6,700.
Okay.
That's property, that's vehicles,
insurance.
that's workman's comp, that's staff liability, that's everything.
Okay.
The second page there at Edgemont, you see that instructional aid salaries, that's one thing. We had budgeted, the minimum wage, the latest General Assembly action, and implemented the minimum wage increase to be effective in May.
2021.
Yeah.
2020. There's some talk that perhaps that will not even be, that they'll take that away. So I had budgeted that to be implemented with this budget starting July 1. If we take that out, that impacts salaries for instructional aides and cafeteria workers. If we take that out for next year and delay it until May, that'll be a savings of about $12,000. So that would impact that Edgemont line, that line item right there. That would-
Okay.
How much would it
Just
impact?
12? Just 12,000?
12,158.
Okay.
Instructional supplies, we have about 24,000 budgeted for each school. We could look at decreasing those amounts.
And we did in 2018, 2019.
Right, we did
We
that.
had to for very similar reasons. And I've addressed that with principals, and they are aware, and they even recommend that
They
as a
do.
cut. They do, yes, they do
I
recommend
saw
that. So we could, I don't know what we did in 2018,
That's what I was gonna
2019. Do you
ask.
remember what the cut was? 10% or?
10%, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
I think
about
they're
88.
willing, I think they're willing to go even lower if
Okay.
we have to make up some dollars.
Yeah.
So that's in
Okay.
every school.
At Gina Watson, we have budgeted 17 teachers. We do have a vacancy there that could potentially not be filled. That vacancy is $65,750. That's a vacant position. That's salaries and benefits for that position.
Now there's,
And then instructional aides would be the same. We would have savings there due to the minimum wage delay.
and that's a total for all three schools.
That's a total, and plus cafeteria.
And cafeteria.
12,000 is all instructional aides plus cafeteria. Then we have the instructional supplies again. At CHS, we have 19.75 regular teachers. 25% of an English teacher covered now by Title I. We don't know yet. We're still evaluating what we're going to do there with that English teacher, but if she were to be all at Covington High School, then Title I would pay less, and then we would need to find some more money in the budget to cover it. Then we have a vacant history position. We have a vacant two vacant science positions. We have a vacant English position. The vacant science position is one of the vacant science positions, since there are a critical shortage area for the state of Virginia, they're budgeted at the top of the salary. So if they didn't, top of the salary scale, so if we didn't fill those positions, there'll be significant savings there. They would fill those positions with a part-time person. But that, maybe we wouldn't fill the English position, take the other English position back full-time and not use them at Title I. Melinda's evaluating all those things with staff. But
My only thing is quality education,
Yes, ma'am. I
okay,
know
for our
that.
students, and really document our needs. If we need those teachers, let's document those
Right,
teachers,
right.
because we don't want subservient education. I mean, we want to give our kids what they need. We want our staff to feel supported and everything. So we really need to look at those, and I know we will. But
again, the instructional aid salaries there at CHS and the supplies. As we go to, and this, depending on what we do with the teachers, may impact what we do with some of these other programs like dual enrollment, Virtual Virginia, things like that. We may have to increase, if we decrease teachers, we may have to increase some of these programs.
And the only thing about Virtual Virginia, and that is one of the things that the state of Virginia is saying, that they are making it free to us for this summer, and they're making it free to us next school year. But the part that I didn't really understand until today is, yes, the course is free, but you have to purchase books for the students. So if we get the free course and we have to buy 15 books at $200 a piece or whatever they might be, I'm not sure. It's a great program. It's top of the line, but that could cause us some additional costs there if we put students there and the books. We've always made books free to our students out of the textbook fund, so that would be our expectation. If we put students in Virtual Virginia, we may have to find funds to purchase the books that they need to do that online learning. So I just wanted to point that out.
that's good.
Yeah.